Good evening, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery.
And I'm Archith. We're in for Brad Means tonight. Thanks for staying with us.
Coverage you can count on continues tonight with late breaking news that a fourth Richmond County school has closed due to the coronavirus. News Channel 6's Chloe Salsameda joins us now live in the newsroom with more on this breaking news. And Chloe, we knew that Spirit Creek Middle, Laney High School, and Garrett Elementary had closed for some time, but just this afternoon, another school was added to that list.
That's right. Glen Hills Elementary is now the fourth school to close in Richmond County due to coronavirus. It's scheduled to reopen on October 5th. Now, schools in Richmond County haven't even been open for a month, and parents are asking a lot of questions.
The doors to Garrett Elementary staying shut today. The school, one of several that Richmond County has had to temporarily close due to coronavirus-related absences.
I did expect this to happen. It's not surprising.
As of Thursday, 2 employees at Garrett tested positive. An additional 20 students and staff members are self-isolating. Venus Kane is the vice president of the Richmond County Board of Education. She tells me shutting down schools temporarily should be expected in such an unprecedented school year.
And with this virus, this is just the nature of the beast.
The school system updates its website daily with how many students and staffers test positive or are self-quarantining. But some parents say this isn't enough. A mother at Wilkinson Garden Elementary asked to remain anonymous. She tells me her son tested positive, and she thinks the school is not doing enough to inform parents.
You putting my whole house in jeopardy because you all knew that y'all had cases there and y'all didn't send out any letters informing parents for us to decide whether or not we wanted our kids to continue to go there or not.
A school system spokesperson tells News Channel 6 it follows the state's public health guidelines and notifies families if their child comes in close contact with positive cases, but it doesn't send mass notifications to the entire school. When schools are closed, classrooms are sanitized, and the Department of Public Health is notified, keeping students and employees' health in mind.
We're doing the best we can. Our teachers are afraid. Our teachers are still doing the best they can and still coming in there like real troopers.
And the Richmond County Board of Education is meeting on Tuesday to discuss everything that's happened since schools reopened. The school system says they'll continue to monitor absences among staff and students to ensure schools can operate safely. In the newsroom, Chloe Salsameda, WJBF, News Channel 6.
Each Friday, the Columbia County School District updates the number of positive cases at each of their schools. Right now, there are about 16 positive cases among students, which is less than 1% of the total number of students enrolled in the district. Among staff, there are 4 cases, which is less than 1% of all employees. Now here's a look at cases in the 2 states. Georgia is now reporting more than 300,000 positive cases and nearly 6,900 deaths. In South Carolina, they're reporting more than 140,000 positive cases with more than 3,000 deaths. Now, for a complete county-by-county breakdown, you can visit our website, WJBF.com.
Let's take a look here. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. There it is. Ta-da! A marginal risk of severe weather. Notice a lot of our western counties in our viewing area not in on this now, but it is still in effect for, basically a gust towards the east, across the Savannah River into South Carolina. So heavy rain would be the biggest threat. Perhaps some damaging winds. The hail and our tornado threat is there, but it is low. I'm not expecting a big severe outbreak. I promise you that. Notice the showers and storms, though, starting to pop. You'll also notice how much warmer it's been even the last few minutes as a warm front's basically moving through the area here. So south of Sylvania, in Screven County, this activity moving off towards the northeast. Allendale, just to the east of you, you have yourself a decent shower and storm. And I'd say McBean, this is crossing the Savannah River over into Jackson and to parts of Aiken County. Again, a decent rain shower for you, so be careful on the way home. Jiffy Lube Skyview Cam over Washington Road looks rather nice, but a dark cloud, and that dark cloud could produce a shower. So here is the warm front. How do you know? Edgefield 78, Augusta 86. Yeah, so the warm front will continue to rise. Notice widespread 80s. It is noticeably more humid. Any front creates lift, and that could create some showers and storms still. 7 o'clock tonight when their FUTURECAST, notice a lot of the activity is just peppered about here. There's Barnwell, Bamberg, our far eastern counties, some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. For the most part, there's Thompson about 9 o'clock. We should be done with any activity. 10 o'clock or so, Waynesboro to Barnwell, maybe a shower again, but I think it is by 11 o'clock or so, we're done with any showers and storms. So again, they will be very isolated in nature for the rest of tonight. 80s return for the weekend. It's above normal temperatures for the first time in a long time. Enjoy the warm temperatures. There's some mighty big changes headed our way next week, and I'll talk all about it in detail coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Tim, thanks so much. Money is headed to the CSRA in connection with the failed MOX facility. Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Stalk tells us why so many say that money should stay in our area.
The people of Aiken, Allendale, and Barnwell counties have lived with SRS in their backyards for 70 years, and that's also including the dangerous plutonium there. The Department of Energy did not remove it in a timely manner, so now they have to pay up. It's a settlement of $600 million, but before that check arrives, the fight is on for how that money will be spent. The suit, filed in Barnwell County Court Monday by Allendale and Barnwell counties and the Southern Carolina Alliance. It asked for Attorney General Wilson to stop the distribution of funds paid by DOE in connection with his failure to build the MOX facility and remove plutonium stored from the SRS site. Where the money should go? That's a question many want answered.
This is a political question that should be hammered out in the halls of the General Assembly, not in the halls of a courtroom. I'm just a guy holding a bag of money with no authority to spend it or to delegate where it should go or allocate where it should go. I'm just sitting here saying, okay, state, where do you want me to send the money?
I have the lawsuit paperwork available on WJBF.com. I'm Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Stalk, WJBF News Channel 6.
The effort to put together the next SPLOST is now coming under fire. Commissioners met Tuesday to work on finalizing the project list to put before voters next March. And some are not happy with the progress being made so far.
There's still a lot of discussion being that needs to be done with this SPLOST. And when the next meeting is hadn't been announced yet, but I'll be truthful with you, I'm not liking the direction this one is going in.
Commissioners have set October the 27th as the date to have a final project list approved.
Both of Georgia's Senate seats are up for re-election this year, making the Peach State a key battleground in this election. A candidate for one of those seats spent his day in Augusta pushing for support. Reverend Raphael Warnock met with Augusta faith leaders earlier at Antioch Baptist Church and is currently with the Richmond County Democrats as part of his Georgia Voices tour. He spoke about issues such as health care, civil rights, and the open Supreme Court seat.
So let me be very clear. We must insist, first of all, that Mitch McConnell hold true to the McConnell rule and to what all of the other Republicans, not only him, you can hear David Perdue over and over again as they denied the last president his nominee because they said it shouldn't happen because it was the year of the election.
Warnock wants voters to be clear that he's running for Kelly Loeffler's seat, not David Perdue's. He encourages people to register to vote as soon as possible for the November 3rd election.
Augusta Mayor Hardy Davis says the pandemic has played a major role in lower participation this year in the 2020 census. Mayor Davis also says if people don't take part, then Augusta could lose out on important federal funding. Now, the deadline to fill out the census is quickly approaching. The mayor says that he's encouraging the entire city to just take a little bit of time to make sure that every single Augustan is counted.
And so once again, the message is simple. 10 minutes that translate into 10 years of Augusta's future.
All right, we do have some good news for those of you who have not filled out the 2020 census. A federal judge has now stopped the census from wrapping up by the end of September. So you get an extra month. That is October the 31st to fill out your census. There are 4 different ways to fill out this year's census.
Waynesboro police are investigating a shooting that happened last night. They say the victim was shot in the area of Grubbs and Walker Streets during a robbery attempt. He is expected to survive. No suspect information is being released right now. The Burke County Sheriff's Office is helping with the investigation. A local group is trying to tackle the opioid epidemic in North Augusta. Specialists from the Aiken Center passed out dozens of doses of Narcan this week. It's a nasal spray that reverses the effects of a drug overdose. The medication was free and handed out, no questions asked. The Aiken Center tells us many people are worried about the epidemic in the community.
Since the opioid epidemic is prevalent in the North Augusta area and Aiken County in general, so our concerned community members that just want to learn about it, see how they can help, or even carry Narcan in their first aid kit.
The center hopes to have more events like this in the future.
Still ahead, lawmakers are bidding a final farewell to Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
We'll take you to Washington for Justice Ginsburg's final moments on Capitol Hill. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. President Trump is on the campaign trail today in Atlanta for an event on Black economic empowerment. The president announced what he calls the Platinum Plan. It's an economic package that focuses on the Black community. He says the plan will create 3 million new jobs for the Black community and open 500,000 new Black-owned businesses across the country. He says it also includes improvements in health care, education, and criminal justice.
Joe Biden cares more about the citizens of foreign countries than he does about Black Americans living in our own country. I will always put Americans first, and that includes, very, very importantly, Black Americans.
The president says this plan sets a foundation for the future. He also told the crowd he expects to welcome a record number of Black Republicans as new members of Congress after the election.
U.S. Supreme Court Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was lying in state in the Capitol for a few hours today. Congressional leaders held a memorial service in Sanctuary Hall on the eve that U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to announce his nominee to replace her on the high court. Next Star's Alexander Limon reports from our D.C. Bureau.
Ready, step!
Just as in life, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg made history in death as the first woman and first Jewish person to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. An honor Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro calls fitting.
Ruth Ginsburg changed our country, and she changed the world.
Presidential candidate Joe Biden, running mate Senator Kamala Harris, and Democratic leaders Senator Chuck Schumer and Speaker Nancy Pelosi were among those in attendance. Republican leaders Senator Mitch McConnell and Congressman Kevin McCarthy were not in attendance. This as the battle to fill the Supreme Court seat heats up. President Trump says he'll announce his nominee on Saturday. The top contenders are Judge Amy Coney Barrett, a favorite among conservatives, who hope to overturn Roe v. Wade, and Judge Barbara Lagoa, a Cuban-American who could help President Trump appeal to Hispanic voters. Republican senators will move ahead to confirm the president's choice against the wishes of Democrats as the battle begins to fill Justice Ginsburg's Supreme Court seat. She is being remembered for her lifelong battle for gender equality and the decisions she won and even those she lost.
She said, and I quote, "The greatest dissents do become court opinions, and gradually, over time, their views become the dominant view."
At the conclusion of the ceremony, the women of Congress paid tribute to Justice Ginsburg one more time. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Coming up on News Channel 6 at 5, airlines are taking a different approach to protecting passengers from spreading COVID.
That's right. Now they're deploying specially trained dogs to sniff out the virus. We'll explain right after the break.
Your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live Viper 6.
Now, a lot of the football games across the area have either postponed or moved. Tonight's game, Greenbrier at Grovetown, 7:30 tonight, by the way, on WJBF, Channel 6.2. Yeah, a shower or two possible at kickoff. Again, very isolated now, and a thunderstorm. We'll keep an eye on it. At halftime, 76. Even by the time the game ends, we're still in the 70s, as it will be warm. Viper 6 radar showing showers and storms. Most of that activity now well off to our east. Big storms into South Carolina. But Sylvania, for you, that is a thunderstorm, no doubt. A little lightning, a little rain for sure. Allendale, the same thing for you. Lightning and thunder with that. And this activity is now pushed over into Aiken County near Jackson. And to get a shower or a storm. Jiffy Lube Skyview Cam right outside Television Park shows our dark clouds, but all in all, notice it's dry, so we're dry at the moment. Temperature 86 degrees, maybe a little shower at the airport. Barnwell 86, Allendale 77. Look how these temperatures are just all over the place, right? As we have a warm front that's moving on through. An 82 in Sparta and Sandersville, also at 82 degrees. Rain will be moving out. We have a very warm weekend headed our way. But big changes coming next week. We're going to have a chance of some storms coming up for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it'll turn much cooler as we get into next week. So now, and this will be a changing forecast as we get into the next several days here. This will be a complex storm system, but nonetheless, as of tonight, I'm thinking that Tuesday, Wednesday would be our best chance of some more thunderstorms. The air is certainly moist and humid as that warm front moves north. This is the remnants of Beta. It will continue to move off towards the northeast. The cold front will move through, and we'll start to see the skies clear coming up for tomorrow. So there's the cold front. Not a lot of cold air with this. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, the front will move on through. Notice we're cloudy, right? But then notice as we get through the early afternoon, we'll start to see some sunshine as high pressure is overhead. Saturday night's fine. Much of Sunday's fine. High pressure will basically move on out. Then notice the rain that moves in from the south late Sunday. That'll be in here late Sunday night into Monday. And that'll give us our better chance of some showers and storms. Closer to home, notice, the clearing skies by tomorrow afternoon, so we'll be fine. 68 for tonight. Scattered showers and storms, ending by about 11 o'clock. All the severe weather will move off towards the east. 88 tomorrow. How about that? Some morning clouds, then some afternoon sun. The humidity will be up a little bit as well, but I think it'll be a little drier than today, which wouldn't be hard to do. There's our storm chances as we get into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And a reminder that this forecast we're going to be tweaking. Right now, I think we certainly could have a decent risk of some thunderstorms. Once that system moves out and the cold front moves through, look at that. Look at Thursday, really all the way through the rest of our 10-day period. Temperatures will once again fall below normal, and those overnight lows will fall into the 50s, maybe even low 50s by the end of next weekend. That's your forecast.
There's now a new attempt to sniff out the coronavirus among travelers.
Yeah, Archith, it's happening in Finland where they're deploying dogs to stop travelers who may be infected. Gio Benitez reports.
This morning, Finland is willing to bet a dog's nose may be powerful enough to identify COVID-19. Helsinki Airport launching a pilot program with 10 so-called coronavirus sniffing dogs. Now, here's how the airport says the trial works. A traveler will swipe their skin with a wipe. It's put in a jar, and in a second room, a dog will sniff it. The trainers in Finland say the dog will have an answer in just 10 seconds. The airport says preliminary tests conducted by a university research group say dogs are able to smell the virus with almost 100% certainty. Though it may be different in the real world, something American doctors are looking at too, because even lab-run COVID tests can produce false positives or false negatives.
We're starting to look at if dogs can detect an odor associated with COVID-19.
Dr. Cynthia Otto at the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine telling GMA earlier this year about a groundbreaking program to see if dogs could identify COVID-19.
What we're trying to do is find if there is an odor, a volatile organic compound, basically, that is telling us that there is a difference. What we're hoping is that the dogs can figure that out.
The results of that study are currently under journal review.
Good girl.
Still, both Customs and Border Protection and TSA tell ABC News that there are no plans to train canines to detect COVID-19.
3 Grand Central Station employees are now in hot water for some secret activities.
You've got to see this one. We'll tell you about it right after the break.